It's conversation time. It's conversation time. Yes! Conversation time!
Let's talk.
Conversation
Let's
time! All right.
The other day we did a review of the Last Airbender.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, people have their comments, but one comment came through. This person was not
Oh, I read that guy.
joyous
Yeah. About your review.
that we forgot a couple of names. You guys don't know anything about Avatar.
Mispronounced a name or
Yeah,
whatever it was. Yeah.
So that started me off. I was a little miffed. I got to admit, I was a little miffed.
I know. I was like, oh wow, you're actually like answering back.
So we forgot some names. That's because we're not fanboys, right?
Yeah.
Like, just because we watch something and enjoy it doesn't mean we memorize all the names.
Sure.
And if you know anything about this, what we do here, we watch something, we have a conversation about it. We're not experts, and we don't come on here and say, we're going to explain this to you.
Yeah, we're not elitists.
We just talk about it. That's it. And our comment thread, okay, it turned into talking about the purpose of an adaptation.
Yes.
And he was kind of upset that we didn't review The Last Airbender on Netflix live action as
A
its
standalone.
own entity.
Yeah.
We kept on comparing it to the original cartoon.
Yeah, the source material.
So his position was, the makers of this live action had their own vision, and you should review that, and it has nothing to do with the original. So stop comparing it.
I disagree. You can't not compare. You have to compare to the original source material that made it popular in the first place.
Why?
Because that's why people are watching it.
And you also have to go, well, what's the reason for making a remake? Are you making it better? Or are you making it worse? You just like, oh, The Last Airbender, it's based on this, but don't compare it to that. Well, you can't.
Well, his point of view, and I understand. I do see some valid points in what this person was saying. I'm not going to refuse everything that he says. Like he says, the new makers are simply inspired by the original, and so they make their vision happen.
Yeah. Except they did a lot of shot-by-shot storytelling of the original. That's more than just inspired by.
But you
Right?
were not happy with, I guess, how the actors were portraying the characters, or
Yeah,
They weren't-
I did not see the character in some of them as the other. And they inserted it in early. Like, this is book one, they inserted characters that weren't in book one. Where they didn't need to. And that's the problem I had with it. It didn't add to the story, it didn't detract from the story. It was just, if you're going to do the story, and you're following it basically, story plot by story plot by story plot, you don't need to make some of these changes.
Now let's take the new Halo, for example, adapted from the video game. I really enjoyed it. I never played a video game, so I know nothing about the lore, and I really enjoyed it.
But people that know the lore will be very
They
very
hated
upset.
it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the actor, much like in The Mandalorian, takes off his helmet. People are very upset with that because apparently that's important. I didn't care because I don't know the lore.
Yeah.
So in that case, how do you reconcile it?
And see, when you review something, you have to look at it from both sides. The people who are big fans of it, and the people who are seeing it for the first time, who have no idea of the history. For instance, if I put Dragon Ball Evolution movie on for you and you watch it, you'll review this as, okay, well, that didn't make quite sense, and okay, he turns into a gorilla. Yeah, that's okay, all right, I get that. That's his power then. And then if you go and actually watch the animation of Dragon Ball Z, it's completely different. Instead of he's a 6'8" gorilla. No, he's a 50-foot gorilla if he transforms, and that's why they transform. There's a whole different meaning behind everything. And so you do sometimes have to look at both sides, not just, this is their vision. So Star Wars, if you look at The Last Jedi, that was his vision. It's a great movie.
But that was a sequel. That wasn't an adaptation.
Okay, but it's his vision on Star Wars. He wrote it, and he didn't care about any of the other plot points in any of the other movies. He changed everything.
Well, he changed things, but nothing had been pre-established.
First of all, you can't crash into another
We don't know that.
hyperdrive.
But we don't know that.
Yes, you do, because
never happened.
you would never have a war.
But it's never happened.
Yeah, but-
so let's take Adaptations as the.
Okay, but you still have to have logic behind the thing, and that was an illogical moment.
Stop! I don't care about Rian Johnson and The Last Jedi. I care about Adaptations.
Well, all I'm saying is he's also talking about vision, and that was his vision of Star Wars.
You're still going.
Yes, because it's the same topic.
No, adaptation. You have an existing thing, and now you're remaking it.
Okay. My point that I was trying to make was where you have to take only that person's vision. Even on adaptation, on any movie, you have to only review the vision. I said, no, you don't, because there's a history sometimes. Whether it's a sequel of histories and a storyline of characters, there's something, right? You cannot just disregard it altogether.
So let's take The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Okay, so they adapted it not from the book. Well, the original was adapted from the book, but the new one was adapted from their own cartoon.
Yes.
Okay, so was it a fail? Was it a good movie? Was it a failure as an adaptation?
Was it a failure? No. Was it great? No.
Okay, but so how do you make that determination? Because I know the fans of the original
I think it was a failure.
were upset because you absolutely changed the main character and the characters on the island. You changed them.
Yeah.
So what was the point of making The Little Mermaid?
Okay. But when you review it, we reviewed it saying they made these changes, didn't really like the changes, etc. So we're commenting on the history of it. But then we reviewed the movie as a whole itself. Was it a horrible movie? Was it a dumpster fire? It was an okay movie.
It was an okay movie, but as an adaptation, I'm wondering.
It was still okay. Like she was a good singer. Some of the animation wasn't great.
But isn't the purpose of an adaptation to enhance something?
No, it's all about making money. I have an IP. It was popular. Let's make money from it. That's the whole thing.
So the motivation is what's wrong.
It's
the
right.
motivation behind the adaptation.
Yeah, it's not because they love it. We loved The Little Mermaid so much, I want to show you my vision of The Little Mermaid. That wasn't it.
The inspiration for remaking The Little Mermaid was not money, was not any, it was to pander. That's it.
No, they were looking to make money.
No, they're looking to pander.
No, they pandered while trying to make
That's
money.
the activism.
It was both. But let's take Beauty and the Beast. That was remade into a live action. It was pretty faithful to the original, I believe.
Well, and so was the Lion one, Lion King.
Yeah, they were both very faithful to the original source material, and they both made $1 billion.
Hired a popular actress, even though she wasn't a singer. Hired her because she was so popular at the time, and the character looked like the character, right? Even what's his name as
The Beast.
no
Gaston?
Gaston, right? They look like the characters. And even then, they started a little bit of pandering in there by their big announcement that they got this big scene that everyone's going to love if you're a part of the LGBT.
Yeah, but that was...
And it was a dance in the background?
Yeah.
It was like...
But that was
like,
nothing.
but I mean, that they made an announcement about it.
See, when I see an adaptation coming out, I want it to reflect the source material. That's why I'm liking the new Jack Reacher. The new Reacher series.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a monster. And he is in this one, unlike Tom Cruise in the movie.
Right.
So this one is getting rave reviews, and Tom Cruise movie's kind of forgotten. So I think if you're pretty religiously adhering to the source material, you're going to be fine, because that's what people want to see.
Well, that's the fans that you're serving.
And then
People
look what
that are
happened.
fans of the original.
Look what happened to Lord of the Rings TV series on Prime. Like
Garbage.
well, or even worse, The Hobbit. Not The Hobbit,
Yeah.
Willow.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is not what Willow was and all this, and
but that was a sequel though.
But still, it's their vision of Willow again, and it's when you can have a vision, but you still have to follow the source material, right? That's like saying I'm going to remake the original Star Wars movie, and I'm going to have my own vision on it. And then Luke Skywalker is an alien who looks who's a swamp monster.
Darth Vader takes off his helmet.
Darth Vader has no helmet throughout the whole thing, and he talks with a British accent. It would change everything. And that could be their vision, but I don't care. I would hate it, right? So, yes, you review it on whether it's good or bad. Yes. Doesn't matter their vision.
You got to compare it to the source material.
You can still compare it. Because the only reason they're doing a remake on it is because the first one was popular.
And to make money.
And to pander.
Well, they wouldn't do a remake on a bad film.
Which is, I think, the problem.
I think they should be doing the remakes on the bad films.
Yeah. Maybe okay, we failed with this. We're going to make it better. But then what happens if it fails again?
Last Jedi gets redone.
Then you're no further behind.
Jupiter Ascending gets redone.
But maybe better. Like, maybe they succeed.
Or maybe it was a failure to begin with because it was stupid.
Maybe.
And then they can't prove it.
Madam Web.
Read the script first. And then
There's an
determine
idea.
whether or not it could be a good movie. Yeah.
Okay. I think we answered this.
There you
didn't
go.
we?
Yeah.